What's next on the bench at Psychotech Labs? 1, 2 DNA Phantom 500s. Oh yeah. So that one we've already checked out. We got a bad tube socket and the antenna load is messing up. So we're going to see if we can service the tube socket, service the antenna load. And for right now, we're going to bust open this one here. Open the case and see what we got to work with. We got a sack of tubes and a Phantom 500 case. So not a big fan of those huge switches. I just itching to get bumped and broke. So without further ado, let's crack this one open, see what we got to work with, and test some tubes. Okay, so this is a really old Phantom. This would be, basically one of your first gen Phantom 500s. It's an oldie. Case is a little worse for wear. I don't like that at all. They're not usually that flexible, but it's a first gen. Alright, where to start? Okay, we take all those tubes out and test them and clean it up. Before we do that, we got to flip it around, get to the back side, and we got to discharge the high voltage capacitors. These things don't got bleeders, so they'll stay charged for years. So that's where we're at with that. So without further ado, we'll have to clean all those tubes, clean the whole top of the linear. The bottom is not bad. Bottom's, it looks pretty clean down there. Old original capacitors. Yeah. There's a blast from the past. Yeah. So we gotta recap it, and I always replace the diodes. The material the diodes are made out of starts to break down and the diodes short out. So I recap it and I put the new, I usually use the 3 amp diodes in there. Alright, that's what we got to do on this one here. I got some cleanup. The case, the outer case, we're going to go ahead and probably touch up with some paint. Alright, let's get to cracking on it. Psychotech Labs will be right back. Okay, take 2. Yeah, we were filming. The guy that owns this linear call, so I kind of ruined that. So take 2, alright. So we pulled all the 12 tubes out, and we archived them in a box that are all packed away. Every one of those 12 tubes is going to have to be cleaned with warm water and a rag, and then I test them in my tube checker. So that's a lot of work right there. He's got some extra tubes in there too. So what we're going to do now, we're going to hose this thing down. What am I using? Window cleaner. Ooh, window cleaner, scary. Window cleaner doesn't really hurt things. And you're probably asking, well, what about getting it in the tube sockets? Don't worry. I have a cure for that too. When I'm done, I'll be hosing that down with WD-40. WD-40 stands for water displacement, so it'll displace any of that stuff. I'm not going to bore you with me getting in there with a rag and toothbrushes and everything else. So I don't want to bore you guys. We'll be scrubbing this out. Let it soak for a minute, and then we'll scrub it out, clean it all up, make it look new and shiny. Yay! Psychotech Labs, we'll be back after these brief messages from the sponsors that we don't even have. See ya! Okay, doesn't that look a lot better? This here, we're gonna get some steel wool, the kind you use, you know, to scrub pots and pans with. It's a real fine steel wool. It's got some soap in it. We're gonna gently go over the face of this, try to get some of this oxidation and stuff out, and clean it up best we can. I mean, this thing's older than dirt. It's the first generation Phantom 500. Got the older style trannies in it. Yeah, baby. Alright. Making some progress. I know. What's this got to do with electronics? Everything, because this is what you gotta do when you get a barn find. Yeah. Alright. We'll be back on this project a little later. Psychotech Labs signing off. Okay, what we're going to do today, we have 12 tubes that we pulled out of the linear. We're going to take a little bowl that has just a couple drops of Dawn dishwashing soap and warm water and a rag. We're going to carefully wipe down each of these tubes because they're just covered with dust. Then, after we clean them up, one at a time, we're going to run them through our tube tester over there. Yay! Doesn't that sound like fun? No, we're not going to leave the camera rolling because it's going to take quite a while to clean each one of those tubes and check them on the checker. So, we'll be back after we get that done on Psychotech Labs. Alright, I want to show the difference. I think I've done this before in a earlier video, but we have a standard duty tube on the left and a commercial tube on the right. Commercial tube, glass is a little thicker, it's taller, and it's definitely built different inside. These take a long time to warm up. The standard duty versus commercial, this thing warms up real fast. These take a long time to warm up, but they hold up really good. They actually put out a little more power too. Then you have industrial, which is even taller and beefier. So standard duty, commercial duty, and then industrial. So that's your tube lesson for the day on Psychotech Labs. We'll be back. So just a little gratuitous shot of my tube checker. I have more than one tube checker. So yeah, that's how we're testing the tubes with our trusty self-service tube tester. Alright, just thought I'd give you a shot of that. Don't that make you excited? Wow, me too. Okay, all the tubes are clean, inspected, tested. They're all good. So we definitely get a full rack of tubes ready for action. Cleaned up the top. The bottom luckily didn't need to be cleaned. So now we can move on to doing some actual repairs. So we're going to build a whole new capacitance bank. That cap right there is spooging, leaking spooge. So he had some brand new old stock caps, and look, they're no good. See it spooging out the end? That's bad. So brand new old sprig Atom DO, can't use it. So remember, if you go to buy, some new old stock like this, don't buy it. That's never been used. Look, it's gone. Alright, Psychotech Labs moving along on the Phantom 500 project. Catch me later. Alright. So, we gotta cut out all that garbage. We're gonna take some of our perf board material. We're gonna take some capacitors. And we're gonna build a whole new capacitance bank for this. With a circuit board and everything. I know, I bet you guys can't wait. I can't either, man. This is going to be so effing cool. So stay tuned for a so effing cool episode of Psychotech Labs, where we build a capacitance bank from scratch. Okay, I'm going to try not to be too shaky. This red wire here is going to nothing. These capacitors here are hooked to this red wire that goes to nothing. It looks like somebody redid the diode bridge, but apparently they effed up. This wire goes to the diode bridge, so that capacitance bank was actually doing something. That big clunker wasn't wired correctly, and they were trying to use it for the sideband switch. Oh, the things we find when we get in there. Okay. Wow. The wire that leads to nowhere. Well, we're going to have to get all that wired correctly. Catch me later. Psychotech Labs signing off. Okay, so I was mistaken. They run a jumper on the underside of that. I couldn't see it. It's totally not wired right. Yeah. It's not wired right at all. I gotta sort through this crap, figure it out, get it wired right. I can't wire in the center taps because they cut them too close. So I'll just have to wing it. Hang on. We'll sort those diodes out. Build a full wave rectifier. Go in some capacitors. Power it up on the Variac and see what it does. Okay. Got the new capacitance bank built and installed. Got the heavier duty diodes installed. So normal Phantom 500 takes 8 capacitors. This one we're only using 3 because we don't have this access to the center taps. So what can you do? We're gonna let that silicone dry and blah 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 blah. Probably wait till tomorrow and Variac test it. I don't really feel like doing any more today. Because this is a hobby, I can stop when I want. Psychotech Labs signing off for now. Okay, so we get a green wire coming off the B plus voltage. It goes around to the high-low switch, high-low power. Part of it's going to the field coil of the relays. Now it looks like they have those series together. Okay. It's really hard to trace it all out, but it looks like these two might be series together. So that would make it 240 instead of 120. These are 110 volt relays in there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut that wire. We don't technically have high and low power, at least not from the normal sense. We have no center tap wires for the high voltage, which would be 450. So that's how you normally would make it high and low. You toggle the high voltage relay and it either sends 450 volts DC to the plate of the tubes, or it sends 900. Well, since there's no center taps, this thing's only going to have one speed, pretty much. There is no damn schematics on this thing at all, so you have to manually trace out all these damn wires. We're going to go ahead and just cut that wire to be safe, put all the tubes back in, and throw it up on the Variac just to see what the hell. Wish me luck, God keep me safe, and we'll be back. Okay, before we can Variac test it, we have to replace this cord. You don't see this unless it's like late 50s, very early 60s. I have a parts Phantom 500. It has the 3-prong plug. The cord looks good. We're trying to keep the cost down on this project. Didn't want to put in more money than what the unit's worth. So we're going to go ahead and swap out the cord. For safety's sake, we got to put in a fuse holder. So we're going to drill a hole in the back, put the fuse holder in, place the cord, then we can Variac test it. Yay! Psychotech Labs, where the psychos go. We'll be right back after these brief messages from sponsors we don't even have. Okay, after fighting with that stupid strain relief, we finally got the replacement cord in, drilled the hole, mounted a proper fuse holder. Now we can put all the tubes in and Variac test it. I don't know, it's getting kind of late. I think I'm going to save that for tomorrow. Have a good one. Psychotech Labs signing off for today. Okay. Come on, camera, focus. So, kind of gotten over it with a fine-tooth comb, tracing out wires and everything best I can. It's time to take and put the 12 tubes back in it and juice it on the Variac. Oh, new in Psychotech Labs, we got our new countertop installed. Boy, that brightened things up, didn't it? That's right, a new countertop at Psychotech Labs and a Phantom 500 to power up on the Variac. Life don't get any better than that. Stay tuned, we'll be back. Well, we all knew this day was coming. Variac testing. The last Phantom 500 we got in. We're using our patented Phantom 500 blast shield. I always put those over the caps. Even if they're new caps, they can still blow. Safety first, right, boys and girls? Let's get on it, get her done. And then I gotta quit being a wimp, huh? Whoa, look at that. We're patched into the high voltage stage. We already got 100 volts on the high voltage stage. Everything looking good. Guess I have some safety glasses on. What are we running here? 50 volts in. Got almost 400. There's 400 on the high voltage. So far so good. Variac feels fine. .700 volts. We got 92 on the Variac. .107 volts in on the Variac. 828 on the high voltage. .120 and we're at 933. That's pretty much where we want to be. Our capacitance bank that we built and put in there is good for 13 something. So we're well within specs. Right on. So the only thing really left to do would be to we'll let that bleed off on its own. Seems to be doing a good job of that. We'll have to flip it over and then go ahead and put some RF power in it and see if we get some amplification. Right on. Slowly bringing another Phantom back alive. This is by far one of the oldest Phantoms I've ever worked on. Except for back in the 70s, I've worked on some that were kind of this old. Just because it says Phantom 500 doesn't mean the guts are the same inside. And I've really, to this day, never found any Phantom 500 schematics for this older stuff. Okay. I've bored you enough. Let's continue this on another day. Between cleaning the shop, putting on the new countertop, and everything else, it's starting to get kind of close to pure 30. So, and it's like 100 degrees outside too. Did I mention it's 100 degrees? Thank God for the air conditioner in here, making it nice and cool so we can keep working out here in Psychotech Labs. Catch you later. Stay tuned. We'll be back. Welcome back to Psychotech Labs, where the psychos go. We got the old Phantom 500 on the bench, ready to rock and roll. So, without further ado, let's plug it in. Turn it on. Whoa. Another exploding linear. That's why we put the case on. So we had an arc flashover somewhere. We'll have to go through and try to trace that out. We already passed the Variac test. It ran for quite a while. All I did was put the stupid case back on it and turn it on and kapow. So let's figure out what went kapow, shall we? Okay, I know we've already Variac tested this thing once, and it was fine. That was with the tubes out. When we turned it on, we have the tubes all hooked up in them. It went snap. So we're going to Variac test it again. I mean, it could have just been a damn dust bunny. Who knows? There should be nothing up here that's going to explode and spray me with sheet metal, or not shrapnel. Well, look how good that fan's performing. Okay, we were at 120 volts. The tubes are lit. So, we have a mystery flashover event. Hopefully it was just a dust bunny. If it was a dust bunny, the poor dust bunny is dead now. Alright, we'll be back. I'm going to put the case on it and try to run it again. See if we can get it to key and make power. So I'll be back. Okay, round 2. Variac's unhooked. We got CV hooked up to it. We hit the power switch again and see if it blows up again. Well, so far so good. So will it key up? Will it put out power? And she's not keying. Okay. So we knew we got high voltage because we rebuilt the high voltage stage. Now we're going to have to go through. Remember, we kept that wire that was running from the high voltage over to the relay circuit. Didn't like that at all. It doesn't make sense. And usually if it doesn't make sense and it makes my head hurt, it's because it's not right. So we'll have to trace that shit out, see if we can get the relays to key up. Stay tuned for that, and we'll be back at Psychotech Labs.